This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm back here with another video, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to build a beginner React project, which I showed in one of my videos, and a lot of you guys were like, oh, how do I build this? Basically, it's just a crypto application where you're able to see the latest prices for cryptocurrencies, while at the same time being able to search for a cryptocurrency. Like if I want to search for Ethereum, for example, I can just write over here and it will start filtering all the cryptocurrencies for like based on the word that I'm writing, right? If I want to search for something like Bitcoin, you can see it will search for the coins like this. The video that I showed previously had some more features. However, since I want to keep this very beginner friendly, I decided to just add those two features, which will already teach you a lot if you are a beginner. So with that in mind, if you want to check out the code will be in the description. And yeah, if you guys could leave a like before we get into the video, I would massively appreciate it because it would help push my videos to more people. And yeah, that's basically it. Now let's get into the tutorial. As many of you might know, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone who loves learning. They have courses on a multitude of topics such as React, Next.js, Node.js, and much more. A course I took recently that I really liked was Modern CSS, Writing Better, Cleaner, and More Scalable Code course by Harry Roberts. CSS is definitely one of my weak points in web development, and this is a course that helped me find a better approach to learning the technology. One of the best aspects of Skillshare is that it is curated specifically for learning, meaning that there's no ads and they're constantly launching new premium courses that you can just access if you have an account for it. This will help you stay focused so you can learn the skills you need in 2022. The first 1,000 of my subscribers that click the link in the description will get 1 month of free trial for Skillshare so that you can start exploring your creativity today. Honestly guys, it is an amazing platform, so I would check out the link in the description. Okay everyone, so let's get directly into writing the code for the project. And right here, just to start it off, I just opened up my code editor, which is VS Code, and I didn't create anything, didn't start my React app. All I did was I opened VS Code inside of a folder called Crypto App, which is what I'm calling the project. Now, the first thing we have to do is we have to configure React into our application, right, into our folder. So I'm gonna come here to the terminal and I'm gonna run npx create React app like this, and then a dot at the end, which means that I want to create the React application inside of this folder. Press enter, you can see that it will start generating all the files and everything necessary to start our React app, and when it's finished, I'll come back in a second. So as you can see, it finished running everything, and I'll just run yarn start or npm start, depending on what you're using, to start up our application inside of our local host in our browser, right? So as that starts up, let's already start making some changes into our project. So create React app will give us all the files that will come with it, and we're going to delete some of them. I always do this because they're kind of necessary for the kind of projects that I'm going to be showcasing. For example, I'll delete the setuptest.js, the logo, the index.css, and the apptest.js. I'll just delete those files, and by deleting them, I'll also have to delete the import statements that import those files so that it doesn't give us any errors. So I'll do that with the index.css import and also with the logo over here. And I'll also just delete like everything inside of here because we're not going to be using any of that. We're going to start rewriting the whole website so that it fits whatever we want. So now that we have this kind of already set up, we can already start generating our application. So how I want to do this is I basically want to have two different functionalities, as you saw in the beginning. I want to keep this very simple. My point with this is that it is a beginner's project that looks really nice, and I mentioned it previously in a video, so you guys probably saw it.
I just want to keep it simple. I don't want to do anything overcomplicated, while at the same time trying to create a project that will impress other people as well. So the two functionalities that we're going to be making is basically being able to display all of the cryptocurrency data or the different coins that we're displaying, and also being able to search through those coins by using some sort of search input, right? So we'll be able to filter those coins directly in our application. So in order to do that, I'll actually come over here inside of our app.js component, and I'll just create two different divisions, right? I'll first create a div that will be the kind of the title, the header of our website, or just a nav. It's not a nav bar, it's just the top of our website, and another one which will be where we'll start displaying the data, right? You can give them class names, and I won't be writing any CSS for now, but throughout the video, I'll be cutting the video to paste CSS so that you guys can see the CSS that I added. The reason why I do it that way and I don't show me writing the CSS is because I've noticed that a lot of you guys want to focus on what is the point of the video, which is the React app and not the actual CSS. That's the styling you can get from the code in the description. So the class name for the first one will be crypto header, something like that. I don't know. We can call it whatever we want. But then the other one will be class name crypto display. It will be where we'll display the list of cryptocurrencies. Now, what we want to do is we already want to start implementing the part where we try to query the list of all the cryptocurrency coins that we want to display. Now, the API we're going to be using is this API over here. It is the simplest the API that I could find that displays like coins, cryptocurrency information, and prices and whatever, because a lot of them require API keys, and I didn't want to overcomplicate it for you guys. If you guys want to use another API, you can. It doesn't have to be this one. However, this one over here seems pretty simple. It gives like cryptocurrency information, and you can just like use it without having to use a API key, which is what I wanted. So what we're going to be using is this thing over here as our like URL for where we're going to be making the request. And in order to make the request, we're actually going to be using another library in our application called Axios. And I've used Axios so many times in the past. I've used it in so many videos. I do have a video where I explain how to fetch data from APIs into your project, and I explain how to do it with Axios as well. So if you're interested, you can check that out. However, Axios is really, really good because it facilitates a lot of the process of fetching data. So I'm going to install it by saying yarn add Axios, but if you're using npm, just use npm install Axios. So while it's installing, we'll come over here at the top, and we need to recognize that when we create, when we fetch the data from our API, we want it to be done immediately when the user enters the website. So when we come over here into the website, immediately when the page renders, I want to display the list of the cryptocurrencies. So to have the functionality of immediately when the page renders, you do something, you do need to use a hook from React called the useEffect hook. So I'm going to import from React over here at the top, and I want to import the useEffect hook. And the useEffect hook, I have so many videos explaining it, but basically it will just treat it for now as you can have a function inside of here, and this, whatever you write inside of this over here, will be run immediately when the page re-renders. And we have to put an dependency array over here, or else this will run forever. And inside of the useEffect, what we can do is, for now, we can just test it out by saying something like console log it worked, right? And when we save this, you should see that when we refresh the page, we go to our console over here, it will always say it worked immediately when the page renders, as you can see. So why do we need it like this? Because now that Axios was installed, you saw that it was installed, we can make the API call inside of this useEffect so that whenever the page renders, we are requesting the newest data, the newest prices for the cryptocurrencies. So what I want to do is I want to import over here, import Axios from the Axios library, and you'll see how simple it is. All you have to do with Axios is you just say Axios dot
whatever kind of HTTP request you want to make. In our case, we want to make a GET request. And then you just put the URL over here, which I just copied from the API that I showed you guys. And this request should show us 10 coins, as you can see, from their API. And how do we handle this data? Well, there's two ways to doing it. There's the async await method, and there's also the way you handle normal promises. I'll just use the way you handle normal promises because I feel like it's more intuitive for beginners. So I'll just come over here and say after you get the data, so after the request is done, then I want to basically run this function, and whatever the data is will exist inside of this response variable over here. So for now, let's just console log the response.data to see what data we're getting from this API request. So we can just come over here, refresh the page, then open our console, and you saw we get an object, and the object includes the list of coins, which is exactly what we wanted and what we needed from our API request, meaning that we have a working API request inside of our project. Now, how do we display this data? Right now, we're just console logging. We're not basically doing anything. Well, the way we do this is by using the useState hook in React. So I'll just come and say useState. And the useState will just allow us to have a variable that when its value changes, it will trigger a re-render in our page to show the new value being displayed in the page. States are very important in React, so if this is the first time you're hearing it, I would definitely recommend taking some time and working with it because it is very important. So the useState, the state that we're going to create over here will be initially an empty array, and it'll just represent the list of coins. So it's just a list of all the coins that we're displaying in our screen. And we need to put a function name for a function that will be used to change the value of the state. So we'll call this set list of coins, like this. And now this variable will just be representing the list of coins. And if we want to set this variable to be equal to whatever we get from the API, we just say set list of coins equal to response.data, like this. Now the state has the correct data, but it actually doesn't, because if you recall, I don't know if it's going to still show because it does. The response.data is not a list, it's an object. And the object contains a property called coins, and the coins is a list. So to set the list of coins to be equal to the correct list of 10 coins, we have to say data.coins. And now this should be correctly handled. Now, we're not displaying anything on the screen yet. We're just setting the state to be equal to the list of coins. How do we display this in the screen? Well, for now, we'll just say something like this. We'll come to the crypto display and we'll say, okay, we have the list of coins state, and I want to loop through all of the coins, each coins, by mapping through each one of them, grabbing each coin, and for each coin that is in the list, I want to generate for now an h1 tag, a header tag, that will display whatever name of that coin, like whatever name that coin has. Now, let's see how each coin is represented. You can see that Bitcoin, for example, is an object containing all of these fields over here. Now, if we want to see the name of the coin, we'll just access the name property over here. So coins, like we'll just say coin.name. And we should see that now it is displaying the name of the top 10 coins, right? It's working perfectly. Now, if I want to see the price, I see that there's price over here. So I'll just say coin.price. And it will be displaying the list of all the prices, right? So it's perfect. But I want to show the name for now. However, I feel like if we create each coin and display it like you saw in the beginning of the video, it would be a lot better to create a component that will be able to handle all that information, right? So the UI information of the coin is just a component that will be reused many times instead of just writing everything inside of here. So I'll create over here a folder we'll call it components. But for now, we'll actually just have probably one component in this project, but we'll call this the coin component. So coin.js. And I'm using a snippet that I've mentioned it so many times in my videos. It's just a snippet that generates a component automatically. But this component over here will be the component representing the UI for each coin that we display. So let's start building it out. I'll start out by giving it a class name, and the class name will be coin. And inside of here, we want to display a few pieces of information, right? So I want to display the name of the coin. So I'll just say something like name, and then display the name. But we don't have access to the name of the coin right now, so I'll actually delete this, and I'll just leave it like this. And let's take a look at what else we want. We definitely want the price, right? We want the price of the coin. Do we want the icon? I'll say we want, right? We want to be able to see the logo of the coin. I think it is kind of nice. And we'll also probably need the symbol, right? I don't want to overcomplicate this. I don't want to keep it like put the volume, the total supply, the market cap, any of those stuff. I just want to keep it simple. So I'll just put as I mentioned, the icon, the name, the price, and the symbol. So we'll put the name over here. Then I'll put the logo, so the image. Right now I'll just ignore it, but below the image I'll put the price. So I'll put an H3 tag to make it smaller, then say price. And then I'll do the same for the symbol. So I'll put over here symbol, or the symbol of the coin. So now how do we have access to the data, right? So we just created this component. It literally does nothing right now. It's not even being displayed in our website. But how do we have access to the data that we get from the API? Well, inside of here, I'll actually import this component by saying import coin from ./components/coin. And for every coin in the list, I want to display the coin. So I'll render the coin component like this, right? However, to have access to the data of each coin, we do need to pass them as props to this coin component. Now, what data do we want? Well, we need the four things that we're going to be displaying: the name, the logo, the price, and the symbol. So to grab this as props, I'll destructure the props like this. Then I'll just grab the name, I think is it logo? Let's take a look over here again. It's not logo, it's icon. So we'll grab the name, the icon, the price, and the symbol. Now that we are destructuring this as props, we need to pass those props over here. So for example, it will autocomplete so that we put a name, icon, a price, and a symbol, right? Now, what happens here is we need to pass this information from this coin variable over here. So I'll pass coin down here as the name. I'll say coin.name to represent the name. Then for icon, I'll do the exact same thing, coin.icon. Then for price, I'll say coin.price. Then for symbol, I'll say coin.symbol. You might be asking, oh, why don't you just pass the whole coin variable and then you access this information inside of this component? Well, that could be an option, but I don't want to pass the whole coin object to this component unnecessarily. So I'm just passing it as props so that it also teaches you guys a little bit about props. So we're passing each information like this, and now we have access to those pieces of data inside of this component. So the name that we're displaying, we'll just display name like this, which is what we're getting from the props. The price will display like this, and the symbol will display it like this. And now you should see that it works, right? It works perfectly. It displays that information in our screen. It obviously doesn't look good because I haven't added the CSS yet. And also we don't have the image. So to add the image, I'll just say image like this. And I'll just put over here a source property, and the source for this image will be equal to the icon. You know why this will work, and it will work as you can see. The reason why it works is because the icon in the data in the API request is just a URL. So when you say source is equal to a URL, it is downloading all of the icons over here, and it is working perfectly. So we have everything working. I think what I'm going to do now is I'll just cut the video to put the CSS that I created, and I'll be back in a second so that you guys can at least have some sort of visual representation that looks a little bit better, right? So I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I just pasted here the CSS that we're going to be using, and you can go over it if you want to. It's not that much CSS, it's just some styling that was able to make it look like this. Now I know it's not amazing, it doesn't look like perfect or whatever, but it's like some small CSS. Again, if you want to make this project look a little bit better, you can just add some more CSS to it, whatever, customize it however you want, and it can make it more appealing. However, I feel like this way it looks okay, and it looks pretty nice in my opinion. So this is basically the styling that we're going to be using. Now that we have this kind of done and we're able to see each of the coins, it's looking nice. However, we still need to add the filtering, right? We can add the filtering over here at the top with the search bar so we can use it. And the CSS that I just added is already styling the input that I'm going to put. So that's why when I put the input, you'll be able to see the input already styled. But we're going to come over here and put an input like this, input of type text, and we'll put a placeholder like Bitcoin. You just write the name of the coin, so I'm just putting it as a placeholder so that the user knows what you put over here. And when I save it, this is the input that we're using, right? So the point of this is you come over here and you search, for example, Bitcoin, and it filters out for the coin Bitcoin. Now, how do we do this? Well, the first thing that I want to acknowledge is the fact that we only are displaying 10 coins right now. But we don't want to do that because we want to display all the coins so that when we search for the coins, it will display all of the coins, right? It will include all of the coins. So the first thing I want to do is I want to delete this limit over here, which it isn't necessary right now because when we remove that, the API request will now request for all the coins. So you can see it is including all the coins that exist in the API. So why exactly is that important? Well, because now, since we included all the coins, if we search for Bitcoin, obviously right now it's not working, it will show all the coins that include the word Bitcoin instead of just the one coin in the top 10 coins. So now, how do we start out with the filter? Well, we already have this list of coins. So what I want to do is I want to create a variable over here called filtered coins. So this variable should represent the list of coins after the filter is applied. Now, how do we apply the filter? Well, we'll say something like list of coins dot filter, like this. And filter is a function in JavaScript which it loops through a list and it keeps only the elements in the list which meets some sort of condition. So the condition how do we determine which condition is met? Well, by returning a true or false statement over here that will run for every element in the list, and if it meets the condition, it keeps the element in the list. If it doesn't, it removes from the list. Well, what is the condition that we want? Well, the condition is that we want to keep all of the elements in the list that which the coin name includes whatever we are writing inside of this input. So we do need to keep track of what we're writing in the input. So I'll come over here and create a state for that for the input, right? So I'll say search word is the name of the state, and then we'll say set search word, and then this is equal to use state, and it will be a string. So we'll then come to this input and just say onChange, and we'll create a function inside of here and just set the search word like this to be equal to the event.target.value. This is very common in React. We're just setting the value of the state to be equal to whatever is in the input. And now that we have access to that, we know what the user is trying to search, right? What they're putting in the input to search. So what we want to say is, I only want to keep the coins which have the name
which includes the search word, right? We only want to keep the coins with the name which includes the search word. Now, this function over here includes, I wrote it wrong, I just realized, but it just checks, like the name implies, it just checks if this word is included or exists inside of this word over here. Now, what do we do with this? Well, this array will change every time there is a change to this list. So we don't need to really care about that aspect of that, but we can just use this directly over here inside of the map function. And now if I try to search for something, like I try to search for Ethereum, it should start working. Now you see it doesn't work right. I wrote Ether and it's only showing Tether, but it's not showing Ethereum. There's a reason for it. It's because Ethereum starts with a capital E in this thing, right? And the name over here has a capital E, and now I can only find it by having a capital E, and that's not the behavior we want because it doesn't make sense. They're basically the same thing, right? So the way we ignore the capital letters or the lowercase letters is by basically making both the coin name and the search word either all capitalized or either all lowercase when we're trying to filter. So we'll make them lowercase. I'll just say the coin name will be 2 lowercase and the search word will be 2 lowercase, like this. And not 2 lowercase, just 2 lowercase. And now if I save this, you should see that if I search for Ethereum on lowercase letters, it still works. It's still searching for everything. I can search for Bitcoin. You see it searches for every word that includes Bitcoin, and it works with every kind of cryptocurrency. So it's basically working, and it's basically all done, right? It's a nice project. There's many things you can add to this. I would recommend just playing around with it, honestly. I wanted to make this into a beginner project, but and I feel like it is, honestly. But you can definitely add stuff to this. You could add some routes where you click on the coin and it brings to an individual page of the coin. You can do a lot of different things with this. You can save some of the coins and make like a save page. You can have a nav bar or whatever you want to do. But I want to keep this simple and just show the initial functionalities for it. If you want, I can make another video where I explain this further. But with that in mind, this is basically it. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like down below and comment what you want to see next. Subscribe because I'm posting 2 to 3 times a week. Sometimes, and I would massively appreciate if you guys could support the channel. And yeah, that's basically it. Really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I see you guys next time.